Hi gang, Rob here. It is the evening of 19 September 2017. Got a From the Sharpening Bench video for you tonight on a much talked about new offering from Benchmade. Comes in a blue box. It is the Benchmade 535 Bugout. Excuse the sump pump, we've had a lot of rain today. Yeah, the Bugout has gotten no shortage of attention on YouTube and other forums over the last few months since its arrival, and most of that attention, I guess, has been good because I just jumped on Blade HQ to get a price reference before I made this video. They were $114.75, but they is gone. Gone. Well, here's the knife. This one, a customer's knife in for sharpening, and it's already set up for left-handed carry. How about that? So what is the Bugout? Well, I guess its name sort of tells us a lot. Look at the glint off that blade, would ya? It's called a Bugout. It is a rather smallish EDC size blade, and it is very light. So what do you got here? You have I measured at about 3 3/16 inches. Benchmade's literature says 3.24. I don't believe that, at least not on this particular one. The blade is a very standard drop point with a beautiful swedge, crafted of CPM S30V steel from Crucible. This one, look at the serial number on that, guys. They should have skipped this. It is number 13 of 1,000. Standard Benchmade finish, a little tumble finish over satin. Nice and broad, very high flat grind. Blade stock, just 90 thousandths. Handle thickness, only 393 thousandths, very slim. The handle length is about 4¼ inches. Check out the construction. A grivery handle, extremely skeletonized, and then the liners that bear the axis lock mechanism come back just past those mounting screws, nestled into those scales. 2 aluminum barrel-shaped standoffs, and a very nice parkerized deep carry clip, nice and short, with lots of rise to give your pants room to slide over those screw heads, which normally has been a problem in fold-over style Benchmade clips. This clip works awesome. Comes in and out of the pocket easily with one hand, but still holds securely. It works great. So what about the rest of the knife? I don't know. Let's look at some size comparisons. There's the Bugout. Man, I'm getting a bad reflection off of that light. How about that? Okay. So there's the Bugout. I'm going to put these dead vertical so you can get a great size comparison. Here is the Spyderco Delica. And here is the Benchmade 940. Another very size efficient knife. And they're kind of stair steps, huh? Let's look specifically at blade length now, because I think this is really interesting. Put these knives, the front of the handle to the front of the handle. It's kind of hard to see at that angle. There you go. You can see that. We'll turn this way. A lot more blade length in the Bugout than the Delica. And if you look at cutting edge, got to back the Delica up yet again. The handles are identical in length, but you can see that the Bugout just gives you a lot more usable blade. And then the 940, longer blade and longer handle, about a whole ounce more. This Bugout only weighs 1.8 ounces. 1.8 ounces. You know, clearly the application is stuff it in a pack that you need to weigh not much and get a whole lot of cutting capability. And man, does it ever have cutting capability. That skinny blade with a very tall grind and a pretty broad profile make it a superb slicer. S30V, as heat treated by Benchmade, is a well-known and well-documented performance juggernaut. And by the way, just a quick aside, for those of you who don't know, who for the last couple of years have been hearing people completely bag on Benchmade about fit and finish, centering, all the usual stuff, keep one thing in mind. No production knife company, but no production knife company heat treats a blade like Benchmade. In any given steel, top to bottom in the product line, the Benchmade steel almost always outperforms the same steel from other manufacturers. They know how to design blades that will cut, and they know how to heat treat steel. Other less important knife stuff, they're not so good at. And let's take a look at one of those things right here. I actually have two of these in the shop, and there's the centering on this Bugout. I did everything I could think to do to this knife to get it to center. Polished washers, swapped washers, tried to shift scales, stuffed cardboard in, shimmed it while it was tightening stuff. It doesn't matter, the blade just isn't ground straight. That's normally the problem with Benchmades that are off center. Some of you may know that. But I have this one in, and I have another one in that I actually sold in last week's knife sale. That knife is perfectly centered. This one just never is going to be. However, it's a free dropping blade. It has zero side play. So I don't know, I could almost forgive the centering on this knife, especially for what it is. It's designed to be a super capable, super lightweight, still full-size knife, and it is. This is derived from the other in the 530s series. Remember, we had the Benchmade 530 Pardue. That was that coffin-handled, super slim knife in the 3-inch class. And then the larger 531, the 530 had a faux dagger, you know, kind of, I guess you'd call it a bayonet ground blade. And then the 531 was more of a full flat ground spear point. Both of those knives have one thing in common that's a little janky. Because they seat the blade very deeply in the handle, they use a little different interface with the lock bar and the blade tang in the closed position. You can see how that lock bar rests in a little hook. In the 530 and the 531, it's almost like a detent. So when the knife is closed and you pull the axis bar back, it forces the blade out to about this far. So when you go to close it in a normal axis lock closing flick, they don't do so well because of that different design. I was glad to see that not carried over on the 535 Bugout. Love the hard bright blue anodized thumb studs that match the standoffs. That's pretty cool. One thing to note though, those will over time wear and you'll have shiny silver spots. It looks great when it's new. I guess as it wears, guys might think that is honest wear and not be upset about it in any way. I think it's a nice little pop of color though. So mechanism wise, solid as a rock. Blade centering wise, this one sucks. The other one I have is perfect. And just by monitoring other reviewers' reports on the Bugout, that is pretty standard. They're all over the map. Let's see, other common Benchmade issues are edge grind. This one I did sharpen in almost brand new condition, but it had some use on the edge. I did it at 16 degrees per side, and you can see my bevel is not overly wide. It is very consistent in width. That means the blade is ground fairly thin and consistently so. Another thing Benchmade does well most of the time is get their edge geometry symmetrical and consistent. This had a pretty good factory edge from all appearances, but it's got a lot better edge now. And this S30V takes a vicious edge. Pretty sure it push cuts. Yeah. Good stuff. 16 degrees per side with a little more of a deburr than a micro bevel at 19 degrees, just to make sure that edge is true and sharp in every bit of it, and man is it ever. By the way, they did a nice job on the Bugout with the choil. Notice how the plunge grind is almost cleared. No need to extend the choil. There's a tiny bit of flare at the back, but not enough to cause any trouble. On almost every Benchmade axis lock knife, I have to extend that choil to get good, crisp, clean edge all the way to the back. My personal 940 has been so treated. Got a little wad of goo. You can see that shiny spot in the choil. I just move them forward just a bit. No need to do that on the Bugout, so they got that right. Ergonomics, just sort of a crinkle finish on the grivery, and then a griptilian type pattern of checkering that's not super grippy. A little jimping on the liners that actually is usable, barely. But remember, guys, what we're looking at here. 1.8 ounces of knife with almost a 3 1/4 inch blade. Ultimate ergonomics and strength are not the ticket on this knife. It's super packable and super capable as a cutter. I will tell you this, in stropping the knife, I noticed a lot of flexing. Not play, just handle flex as I was sort of bearing down on that strap. You can feel a lot of movement, but that's the price that you pay to get a 1.8 ounce knife with an over 3 inch blade. I've heard a lot of chatter as guys talk about this in the internet world of knife debate that it's not worth 115 bucks. Well, okay. You have a blade that's a 1/4 inch longer than a mini grip, has better cutting geometry than a mini grip. It's an S30V instead of 154 cm, and it has very similar handle construction, although this is executed in a lighter platform, which probably to most people who are going to buy the Bugout adds value, and it's $21 more. I think that's right in line. Now, if you're looking at a Delica, imagine this in VG10. What's a Delica in VG10 now? 70 bucks? I don't know. But your steel upgraded Delicas like this HAP 40, you're gonna, I think these were at or more than the cost of a Bugout, and it's a platform they've been building for 10 years in its current form. So they're kind of done recouping their tooling costs on that thing. So I don't know. I think you can make a case that the Bugout is priced exactly where it should be. And really, given what its application is, I can only find one thing wrong with the knife, and that's blade centering. And really, would you like to have a perfectly centered blade at 115 bucks? Yeah, but does it affect how this knife actually performs? Absolutely not. It's pretty good in the hand. In the overhand pinch grip, it's great. Hammer grip is great. Draw cut grip is great. Reverse grip, if you had to actually stab somebody, is also pretty good. For as thin as the handle is, it's pretty comfortable. I think this design is a winner. Perhaps that's why it's no longer in stock at Blade HQ. I would look for this knife to stick around, probably in more and different colors. I don't know, maybe, I don't know that they want to go adding any weight to this knife. It kind of wrecks the purpose, but maybe a G10 Bugout soon, someday. I don't know. think I'd kind of like to have one, though. Maybe I shall get one. You never know. That's all for this one, my friends. Thought you'd like to see it. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word and all three of the knives on your screen are sharp.